Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Clandestine Cabal. I'm Jason.
I'm Ben.
And we have got not two, not four, but three comics to review for you today. And just three. We're going to get them started off, though, with Wonder Woman number 7 from DC Comics. And it might not be fair for me to review this because I love Brian Azzarello so much. It is done by Brian Azzarello with art by Cliff Chang. And holy crap, this has been like an amazing comic. I almost feel like it's one of the few New 52 comics that's really good but doesn't get a lot of attention, really. Because, I mean, all the attention's on stuff like Batman and Swamp Thing, but and Animal Man. But this really is kind of like evaded most people's radars. And Brian Azzarello, probably most famous for doing his 100 Bullets series with Vertigo, but also for doing the Joker and Lex Luthor Man of Steel graphic novels, both of which are pretty good. But this is pretty much like a redefinition of everything about Wonder Woman. And this issue in particular tells the secret of why there are only women on Paradise Island. And I don't want to give away too much more than that, but it's really crazy. And I mean, all the characters in this book they're not who you would expect Wonder Woman to team up with. You expect Wonder Woman to team up with, the Justice League or stuff like that. But it's a great cast full of really different people, and they really work well together. I feel like a whole new addition to the Greek mythos has been made with this, and it's brilliant. The artwork flows really well together with the story, and I have to say that I was going to make one more point. Oh well, never mind. Maybe you'll make it, and I'll be able to.
Hopefully.
But this is one of my favorite DC books right now. I definitely put it up there with Scott Snyder's Batman and Jeff Lemire's Animal Man. And I would have to say, definitely look into it if you aren't already.
Cool. Before I start, I'm going to say I promise, I do really like I do really like this.
What are you saying?
But I think I know why a lot of people have been turned off by it, and it's the fact that it's such a departure from like the Wonder Woman before the relaunch. So I think like a lot of people, which is you like what you like, so I think it's just not their cup of tea. That being said, they really should maybe change like their preferences in tea, because this Wonder Woman is really awesome. But I understand, it's different. But yeah, it's a completely different origin for Wonder Woman. Just a completely different take on the character and like the mood of the book. I really don't want to give away too much, because like so much of what's great about this is like finding out with Diana like what the hell is going on and like what her past is. So I really highly recommend you read it.
You don't really have to know anything about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, because it's all changing. So
yeah, this is one of the characters that's probably changed the most in the New 52 relaunch. And I definitely recommend picking up every issue of the series. There's only 7 so far, so plenty of stuff to catch up on. But still, no prior Wonder Woman knowledge is required.
I also really like the designs of the gods. They're really different, and just different takes on like what I've seen of Greek gods and pretty much any other interpretation of them. So really cool.
Mm-hmm.
My book for you with this episode is Matt Fraction's Invincible Iron Man. I forgot to look. Number 514. Invincible. This is kind of a return to form, because when Invincible Iron Man first started, it was this awesome, just kick-ass, like full throttle ride where it kind of like went off the coattails of the Iron Man movie, and it was
one of our first videos was reviewing like one of Matt Fraction's early issues of Iron Man.
Definitely, yeah, and it's just right in your face, awesome Iron Man. And somewhere along the way, it didn't really lose quality, but it changed the pace of it, and it became like a very slow burning affair. So it just has become a different book, and just that it's more about the character of Tony Stark now, which is great. It's just very, very different than how it was. So that being said, this is a great issue because I think it balances both takes on the book very well. You kind of get like a lot more action in this issue with some hints of like some really great stuff to come, and you're still getting that like great character work with Tony Stark, and there's kind of a wrench thrown in the engine and some of Tony Stark's plans, and it's really great. So I look forward to seeing where this book goes.
I have to say, I didn't really like this issue a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the direction that the series has been going in since Fear Itself, and I think during Fear Itself, I believe that's where it's kind of like sidelined. And the thing is that when Invincible Iron Man first started, and while Matt Fraction was also doing Iron Man before they merged into one book, it seemed like all the villains were doing really plausible supervillain things. Like, it was a book about new technology and using that to, like, exploit the world. You're exploiting that, and you're pretty much, like, these villains were holding the world at ransom. But now, because of the Mandarin being thrown back in there as the big villain, which, I mean, he's been the big villain this whole time, he's, like, taking all these villains and kind of taking them back to their classic 60s persona by amping them up in the book. But it kind of just seems like now all these villains and all these resources are being used to basically ruin Tony Stark's life more than like kind of like doing what a modern villain would do. I mean, yes, I know revenge is a big motivator for supervillains, but I just feel like it kind of seems a lot more unrealistic. I think the thing that I like most about Invincible Iron Man is that when it first started was that it seemed like, yeah, I mean, it's in a superhero environment and everything, but I thought that like it seemed one of the more realistic books with the villains being like truly unique. But now it just seems like they're kind of one note, like, oh, let's all band together and defeat Tony Stark. Let's get our revenge. But I mean,
it actually reminds me a lot of the Gauntlet storyline they did in Amazing Spider-Man a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago.
But yeah, I believe Salvador LaRocca is still doing the art, right?
Yes, and that's definitely the best part.
Yeah, it's still wonderful, and there is some great character development. I just think the overall story needs improvement. I think like we need to get back to the realistic, like, wow, if you could really build an arc reactor with repulsor technology, then this could happen. But I just don't feel like I'm getting that vibe anymore from the book. It's become almost Saturday morning cartoonish. But, I mean, that's my opinion. I still love Matt Fraction's work, but I hope that it takes a new direction. I hope that Iron Man takes a new direction soon. Which maybe it will after Avengers vs. X-Men. But anyway, we are moving on to our final book from Image, Hoax Hunters #0, written by... Sorry, I should have looked this up for him. Michael Morrissey and Steve Seeley, and with art by J.M. Ringuet and Axel... Good God, does anybody have hard names that are easy to say?
Fabian Chiesa.
Axel Medell. I'm not even going to try Fabian.
Some great people.
But anyway, this basically if Hoax Hunter sounds anything like Mythbusters, there's a reason for it. It focuses on the crew of a Mythhunters-esque show that basically go out and prove that all the supernatural stuff, like the Chupacabra and the Yeti and alien abductions, are all hoaxes, and they prove that they are that. But in reality, they're actually given these assignments from a higher up authority because the thing is, these things are real. They do happen.
Dun dun dun.
So it's really cool. It's like if Mythbusters was just a show to cover up real sci-fi awesomeness. And I really loved it. I loved all the characters that were introduced. It's a number 0 issue, but it pretty much feels like a number 1 issue. But the art's really kind of creepy. There's going to be a new artist with the number 1, and you get a little preview for that in the back. But it's a really cool concept. I'm surprised. It probably has been done before, but I'm just not as comically literate as I would want to be, which is weird. But it's got some very good writing and very interesting concept, which I am actually really looking forward to seeing, because I feel like this is a series that could last for a while on its premise alone.
Yeah, I was on the fence about whether or not I was going to check it out, just because I'm reading so much, and there's so many great books out there. But you know what? Like, I went ahead and read it, and I really liked it. It reminded me a lot. It's kind of, to me, it seems kind of like an anti-X-Files. Whereas with the X-Files, they're trying to, solve these mysteries, and with Hoax Hunters, they're kind of like trying to shove them under the table and like disprove them. And it kind of really reminded me of Doctor Who a little bit. I mentioned that to you earlier, and not really like the premise of Doctor Who, but just the fact that they just have some really unique, interesting stories on Doctor Who that aren't really found on other sci-fi media. And I really thought that the concept in this specific issue of Hoax Hunters was really different and cool. I mean, you can see on the cover, I mean, it's an astronaut with crows coming out of him, which is...
And guess what his
crazy,
name is?
Right?
Murder! Ah!
I think that's cool.
It's funny. But yeah, definitely pick it up. Another hit from Image. But anyway, that's this episode for you. But today we are filming 2 other episodes. We already have one filmed, and we got another one on the way. So check them all out. If you like what you see, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our page on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and if there are any books that you want us to review, then just put them in the comments below. Should be below the video. And
you know how YouTube works.
Yeah. I mean, it's been around for like what, ever? But anyway, so hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We got another one coming up for you.